Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue with the chapter History of Communication. Last day we had read about, in the last video, we studied about postal services and letters and the telegraph and telegram. Today we are going to discuss about telephones and wireless communication. So let's begin with telephones. The telegraph made it possible to send messages over wires. This led to the idea of sending voice signals over wires. Many people started working on it. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell, an American inventor, was able to make the first working telephone. So, what this paragraph says is that in the previous part, we had seen that how was telegrams sent? They were sent by tapping on the telegraph, and through a wire signals were sent to the other side, where the code that was sent by this side was read by the other side. Okay, so these signals were not verbal signals. That means this was just sound. It was not someone talking. So from that came the idea that if we could talk directly to one another via the wire. So from that came the idea of the telephone. So the work on voice signals started and in 1876 Alexander Graham Bell, he made the first working telephone. So the first telephone, the inventor of telephone was Mr. Alexander Graham Bell. The early phones were connected in pairs. So, if you wished to reach 5 friends, you needed 5 phones, each connected to the phone of one of these 5 friends. This problem was solved with the invention of telephone exchange. All the peoples in a town were connected to an exchange. To call a friend in your town, you had to call the exchange. An operator there would connect your phone with your friends. A similar system is used in many offices even today. So what is being said here is that the early phones, today the phones we have, we can use one phone to call any number of people, right? We can even call up to 13, 14 people at a time together. But when the first phones were invented, one phone was connected to only one another phone. So suppose if I wanted to call one of you, then my phone would be directly connected to your phone, and from that phone I could call only you and nobody else. Okay. Similarly for you, if you wanted to call me, you had that one phone that was connected to me and you had to use that phone. To call someone else, there would be another phone. So if you wanted to be in contact with all your friends, then you would need 10 phones, 20 phones, right? So that was very problematic. So how was this problem solved? This problem was solved with the invention of the telephone exchange. Now, what is the telephone exchange? The telephone exchange is kind of a service, where the different lines are connected and they used to connect your call to another call. They are kind of the middleman. To call a friend in your town, you had to call the exchange. An operator there would connect your phone with your friends. A similar system is used in many offices even today. So, suppose I wanted to contact you. I would need only one phone. I would not need 10 phones for 10 people. If I wanted to contact you, then what would I have to do? I would have to first call the telephone exchange and tell them that I want to contact this number. Then they would connect me to your number. Then we could talk to each other. But previously, if I wanted to contact you, I would have needed a separate phone to contact you. So for 10 people, we needed 10 phones. But now, with the development of the telephone exchange, with one phone, many people could be contacted one at a time, not together. And this system is still used today in some offices. So it is not commonly used by people. The exchanges of different towns were connected using a trunk line, like branches connected to a tree's trunk. To call your friend in a different town, you had to make a trunk call through your town's exchange. An operator would connect the call using the trunk line. Nowadays, automatic exchanges let you directly dial a number in another town within the country. Of course, you have to dial 0 first, 0 followed by the STD subscriber trunk dialing code of the town first. Just as a post office is known by its PIN code, a town's exchange is known by its STD code, also called area code. So, this may sound a bit confusing to you, okay? Why? Because nowadays we use mobile phones, and in mobile phones generally these systems are not that important. We have a number, we save it, okay, and we just find out the name and we make a call. It's very easy. But this system particularly was used for landline phones, okay? So, see this picture here, okay? Town A, Town B, Town C. There are 3 towns, okay? And this star shape here is the exchange. These are the different color phones or different houses. So suppose someone from town A wants to contact someone in town B. Okay, someone from town A wants to contact someone in town B. So what do they have to do is they have to contact the exchange, and the exchange would then use the trunk line to contact that person exchange in town B, and then they would be able to contact the person in town B. So that's a lengthy process. Nowadays we can directly contact someone. We do not need to use this long process. We have a direct contact system. But there is also the use of STD codes. Okay, what are STD codes? You will see when you are calling someone in India, right? We have this number +91. Okay, at when you get the unknown number which is not saved in your phone, you will see there is always a +91 written, and after that there are 10 digits of the mobile number, right? So this +91 is the STD code for India. And in case of landline phones, this STD code varied from state to state. But in case of mobile phones, the STD code is same for the whole country. Okay. And for international calls, we need to dial 0. But in case of landline phones, 0 was used even to call someone from another state. So this might be a bit complicated for you, I would say. Give this part a read. Okay, ask your parents, because they have used telephones and they know about this STD codes and all. Okay, they can help you understand this better. So I will just give you a picture of a telephone. You have all seen this. So this picture at the very beginning, okay, this is a picture of a telephone. This is, there were many variety of telephones, but this particularly, this was a very famous kind of telephone used back, about 10 to 15 years earlier, okay. So this is the part of the telephone system. Now let's talk about wireless communication. When the telegraph and the telephone were invented, they used wires to send signals. But scientists knew that it was possible to send signals without using wires. Some of them, like Jagdish Chandra Bose of India, made devices to show this. Around 1894, the Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi started work on a system that would send and receive wireless signals called radio signals. Soon, he developed a wireless telegraph. It was the first use of wireless communication. So, what happened is that first there were lines that were used to send coded signals. From that, someone got the idea that, okay, so if we can send coded signals, we can also use the wire to send voice signals, and then it developed into the use of telephones, right? Now, after that, scientists they began research and they realized that we can do this even without wires. Okay, this is possible even without the wires. And from there came the ideas. So some of them, like one of the very prominent scientists who worked for wireless communication was Mr. Jagdish Chandra Bose. Okay, and around 1894, an Italian inventor, Guglielmo Marconi, started his work, and he started his work on wireless signals, which are also known as radio signals, and he developed a wireless telegraph. So previously the telegraphs had wires, okay, and now Guglielmo Marconi developed the wireless telegraph. So he was the inventor of the wireless telegraph, and this wireless telegraph was the first ever invented wireless communication system. Okay, before this, whatever communication system existed was with the help of a wire. Okay, wireless communication brought many changes. It became possible to send messages to people that were not connected by wires. One of the first use was to send messages to ships at sea and later to fly aircrafts. Then came radio, television and mobile phones. So you see, wireless communication brought many changes. Okay, it became possible to connect more people. Like if you think that you are going to connect a person who is living over the seas. Okay, so suppose we are living in India. Okay, we want to contact someone in Japan. So that's a huge distance. A wire communication from India to Japan is impossible, but a wireless communication, okay, is possible. So the invention of the wireless communication system made things much easier for people. And today, almost all kinds of communication systems which exist are wireless. So first, they began to be used in ships for sending messages. Okay, the telegraph communication with the Morse code, and then they started to be used for flying aircrafts. Because you can't connect a ship with a wire, right? You can't connect an aeroplane with a wire. You need wireless communication. And after that came the radio, television and mobile phones. These are the things we all have in our houses, right? We use them on a regular basis. So if the wireless communication system was not developed, maybe we would not have been able to get radios, televisions and mobile phones, right? So the development of the wireless communication system was a major step. It was a major development in the history of communication. So I will end this video here, and in the next video I'll be continuing with the remaining part of the chapter. So this is the end of this part. Thank you for listening. That's all for today. Thank you and bye-bye.